Hi, my name's Caroline Taylor. I'm one of the attorneys at Whitfield, Bryson and Mason, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what would happen or what you need to know if you or a loved one thinks that you have a product liability case. So one of the main things that we always try to do at Whitfield, Bryson and Mason is obviously to maximize your recovery in any way that we can. So one of the things that we do, first off, whenever we're thinking about product liability cases or thinking about your case, is to determine who's at fault. Who in the supply chain are the defendants that we really need to be focused on? Is it the manufacturer of the product? Is it the distributor? Is it the retailer? And we can look through that supply chain and find who's really at fault, and it potentially maybe more than one defendant. So we always want to try to find as many defendants as possible in an attempt to maximize your recovery. So the second thing that I really want you to know anytime that you're potentially thinking about having a products liability case is the importance of showing proof of purchase of that product. I can't tell you how many cases that we get and clients that come and talk to us when they talk about how a product harmed them, but there's really no way to prove that they used that product or they purchased that product. So a few things that you could keep in mind at this point when you're thinking about your case is obviously if you have a receipt of your purchase of the product, keep that. That's going to be very, very important. I know we live in an age now where most of the time we just swipe our credit cards and people don't necessarily keep receipts. So if that's the case, if you have it on your credit card statement, where you can go back and actually show that you went to a certain store or you have a certain amount that you spent, that's always good to have. Also, if you can just keep the product. Sometimes people get so upset and obviously if a product has harmed them, they get so mad and so angry that they'll throw the product away or they don't want to see it anymore, so they get rid of it. If you have the product in your possession, then obviously that's a surefire way that we can show you actually purchased it and you actually used it because you still have it. So that's extremely helpful. A few other things that you could potentially do, or we could go back to try to show that you did purchase the product. If it did harm you and you went to the doctor or the hospital and perhaps you mentioned and the doctor wrote it in your records that you used X product and this is what it caused, that can be helpful. So there are a few things that we can do if you don't just directly have the receipt or directly have the product, but proof of purchase is always something that comes to be an issue in a product liability case. So if we can show that, that will obviously be very, very helpful in maximizing recovery for your case. So if you have any questions, if you think that you have a product liability case, please feel free to call us. Our number is 615-921-6500.